in the mirror formed a sort of waxing moon crescent of plants. This crescent became more full, and its dark foliage had a brightness behind it. There was also a lighter green seen in the room, and a soft but dark blue color filled the rest of the mirror. A black cloud, very thin, joined with its presence to the west, and then to the floor, and then to the ceiling. The buzzy feeling built up. And the colors were seen outside of the mirror and stand. I felt a pulsing pleasantness. And a silence from outside of my operation. I feel relaxed and the pain is gone with sort of a numbness and a greater sense of being awakened. And finally, around me was a blotchy saturation of pinks and lighter blues. And when I say dark blue from earlier, I don't mean like a midnight blue or something. I mean like a more solid 100% sort of blue that's not sky blue. I think of clockwise as evoking and counterclockwise as invoking as my one-word associations with those symbolic gestures. In the Golden Dawn, counterclockwise is banishing, and clockwise is invoking. I don't know where the pentagram right tracing the stars comes from, but this book has a full set of the 6, and of course by the 6 I mean which line to start. You know, are you going towards or away from the point? You know, that would be the spirit point, but this line and this line aren't the spirit pentagram. You know, you got the earth, fire, water, air, passive invoking, passive evoking, spirit active invoking, spirit active evoking. So, so you're towards or away the point. So the air and the water, you really end up drawing the same one twice, right? In the 1880s, they were working out ciphers, and in the next century, the 10s, and certainly by the 20s, the 1920s, the claims of the origins of the Golden Dawn were getting kind of ridiculous. The Pigpen cipher, you have the grid thing. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then you can give it a dot, and then you have that sort of thing, and but that was so common that people have like, is it really even a cipher at this point? I've got myself into trouble before using coded stuff, but then again, what's not coded, people's like, I don't know, your secret codes and stuff. It's like, it's not secret codes. I say right there, I'm teaching some linguistic thing that this is the word in this language, and this is what it looks like, nothing coded about it, right? But yet when I write some sort of symbolic sort of drawing, with or without explanation, that's not considered a code. I've sent guiding letters to some people that were incarcerated, by the way, so that's part of that sort of thing. But before that, and aside from that too, people have tried to put secret, try to find secret meanings into things that weren't there. Now, Mathers at one point was claiming to be in contact with the secret chiefs, and like that's where the stuff came from, and he was the only one who was in contact, and I don't think that a person can do that. Like, even Muhammad didn't claim to be the only one with spiritual experience of his time, and didn't claim to be the only one with valid spiritual experience of his time. And he specifically said that certain aspects of prophethood were going to go on. It's just they weren't going to be the messenger or exemplar prophet type of prophet again. Certainly confirmatory prophets, and then two types that you certainly don't believe in the first place, even when they are actually spiritually gifted, because that's what a prophet means, is spiritually gifted. And of course, Mather's wife was backing him up. Sometimes the wives don't back a person up on their scams, and good for them, right? Different people that were either associated or directly apart were involved in things before and things after. And certainly the idea of, well, I've read some books and formed an idea of what we could do as our secret club. And those who actually passed on a tradition from before, well, it kind of can amount to the same thing, because if you're going through text and you say, here's some things that we could enact and develop ourselves in the theory and practice of magic, or whatever you want to call it. Because remember, magic is the Western word for shamanism. And yeah, I know some people would consider Russia to be Western. They kind of, in a way, don't. Just like Israelis and Jews as a whole, even though they're not, Semitic, the vast majority of them, They don't consider themselves white like the people they were from. Some of these practices can produce visions, but that's not entirely the point with the Golden Dawn. And it's not, it sort of really didn't sound, despite the conflict with Aleister Crowley and some stuff, it really didn't sound like they were stingy with their degrees or too elitist with their degrees. A person needs to be aware of egotism, particularly in the Western approach, whether a person says shamanism or whether they say magic. The study guide and bibliography might not have been what I would have selected, but I'm not really an expert on the Golden Dawn. I read and commented on some books in passing, more than what a lot of people would have read, more than even what some people of that path would have, but it's been such a minority in my life, and it's never really been a serious practice, so my thoughts on the subject are, limited. If there's a question, I can certainly try to figure out an answer to it, but, by the time you get through the books and put some serious practice into the books mentioned in this book, a person probably will be more advanced in this particular faction of, the Golden Dawn stuff than I am. Certainly I approach it with a different belief than pretty much anybody that would look into that. In their own ways, Christianity and Judaism are really just rewritings of a combination of other paths. So in a way, it's sort of the same thing. So if you have issues with any particular formula they use, realize, okay, how does this stuff apply? How does the Christian Trinity and the saints and their ideas of prophets, or the Jewish ideas of prophets, there's never been one Judaism, I don't think that's fair to say, about by 540 BCE, you could have had what could be labeled Judaism, but, because that priestly type of structure and stuff that the prophets were going to try to keep out of that mixed with the stuff from the prophets, and there's no really quick way to explain that stuff, is there? But you realize that it represents something older, and it takes ideas from something older. Then your issues that you have with Christianity and Judaism are, when it comes to other stuff, your idea of Islam that you got off of some news story, which was a news story because it was something rare rather than common. These things or maybe these are issues that you need to work through in your magical practice. There's something to be said for working systems in order and understanding the sort of philosophy